following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ralph Tyko with the Comfortably Zoned Network, and it is my pleasure to welcome back to the network Claire Hall, who has a name change in her show. It is now Claire's Corner with Claire Hall. I would like to welcome Claire Hall and tell us about your guest today, Claire Hall.
Well, thank you very much, Ralph. Great to be talking with you, and great to welcome to the microphone a friend that we started out as Facebook friends, and thanks to the fact that we only live about an hour and a half apart from each other, we've had the opportunity to become friends in real life. A passionate baseball fan, a vagabond, a raconteur. Let me think of other good words to describe our mutual friend, Gabriel Schechter. How are you, sir?
I am fine for a vagabond raconteur. That's a nice. I haven't heard that one before. I'm fine, Claire. How are you?
Oh, great.
Claire did not throw in Renaissance man.
Yeah,
there we go.
Scholar, Renaissance man. I mean, this man has it's a master's degree in English literature, correct?
Yes, it is, from the University of Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'm very, very impressed, sir.
Yeah, it was the web feed that Gabriel grew here all those years ago that finally led him back to this great state, right?
That's true. I spent 2 years here in the 70s, fell in love with Oregon, and when it came time to decide where I really wanted to be, the answer was Oregon. And I was right. I'm very happy here.
Nice. I myself have spent maybe 15 summers up in Oregon covering the Northwest League in the 80s and 90s for
excellent.
And what a beautiful state. I mean, I live in California, and it's very pretty here. They're very scenic. But there are things about Oregon that will take your breath away. Equivalent to the Rockies type thing. If you're just looking for a view, and if you're looking for mellow people, what a difference between California and Oregon.
No kidding.
The pace, the priority on quality of life, as opposed to just getting through it. It's a big difference. So, and for a number of reasons, I'm thinking I may eventually be up in Oregon because, for one thing, you have to live in Oregon to have the benefit of their very liberal suicide laws. If you wanted to commit suicide, as some of us may have to someday, Oregon would be the place to go. That was a bit of more
interesting. I hadn't thought of that, Ralph.
Can I get any more morbid on a Saturday?
And here I was just thinking what a great place to live it is. Huh.
Right, but it would be a great place to end things too. But if the time ever came, well, we were forced into it, and it's nice to have that option. I miss Kevorkian's number on my speed dial, just in case. Rest in peace, my friend. Claire.
But we digress.
we certainly do, and I apologize for screwing up your show. I'll let you rescue it. What do you want to talk about, Claire? Claire's not here.
I'm back. I don't know how I dropped off, but I have returned.
Okay,
so,
Claire.
It's just another miracle of science.
That's right.
On this anniversary of landing on the moon, we have recovered Claire from the ether.
Yay! Well,
yes,
if I could,
we can now exhale. We've held our respective breaths.
Well, if I could, circle back to the Death with Dignity law. Oregon really was a pioneer in that, and I think it is a wonderful thing. And that could probably be a program in itself. But one thing that has been a huge takeaway with me, knowing friends, relatives, that often people will obtain the lethal prescription when they do qualify, when they are terminal, and yet they will choose not to use it, but let things take their natural course. And yet, having that sense of control gives them an amazing peace of mind that they said they wouldn't have had otherwise in their final days.
Interesting.
Well,
like spies with the cyanide capsules.
Yeah, sort of. Only in a more positive light.
I'm glad you picked up on that and reminded me that I'm not just being silly. It's nice to have an option. It's control of life. Go with dignity if necessary when the time comes. And that doesn't mean that I'm headed that way, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm not entirely joking about it either.
No,
I've known a lot in my time, and my grandfather was one of them.
Yeah, and you have to respect it. I've also been shocked by young people that I have known who have chosen either voluntarily or semi-involuntarily to end it. And it's horrible. Mortality sucks. How about that?
Yeah. Well, that on that cheery note, why don't we get back to baseball? And you mentioned Northwest League baseball, and we are recording this program on July 20th. On Monday evening, Gabriel and I will, in fact, be attending a Northwest League game, and we will be stepping into a time capsule of sorts because we are going to see the Portland Mavericks in action. I kid you not, the Portland Mavericks, made famous in the Netflix documentary Battered Bastards of Baseball, the Portland Mavericks, who have not existed since 1977, take the field again. The Hillsborough Hops. This has been an ongoing promotion for, I believe, 2 seasons now. Every home Monday, they dress in throwback Mavericks uniforms, and I love the idea. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure all
that
these
is very
kids,
special.
It's too bad they don't throw back the prices as well. It's too bad
God,
they don't throw back the prices.
But
I remember covering minor
everything.
league baseball when for $5 you can get in and get a hot dog and a drink. So that's changed.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Major League Baseball is no longer family entertainment, and I fear the minors are starting to head that direction as well.
That's kind of sad. But
$8 hot dogs at a summer league game seems excessive to me.
Oh my God! I mean that.
Or is it $8 burgers? Same difference.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Different critter.
Yeah. Because
possibly
cooking up a different critter.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Yes,
go ahead.
The same one.
Yeah.
Just put through a different machine.
Different part.
Claire, would you explain the entry league, how organized ball uses the teams in the purpose of the teams in a developmental entry league like the Northwest League, which is basically what do they call it? Not a short A, but
actually it is a short A.
Oh, okay.
But Carolina League is an example of a long A. But that's true since, I believe, 1963, and Gabriel, correct me if I'm wrong, minor league baseball has been organized on various tiers, starting with the Rookie League, the short season Class A leagues, the full season Class A leagues, AA, AAA, and that the minor league teams strictly exist essentially as a training ground, or in some cases a rehabilitation stop for major league players, which is far different than what the minor leagues were from their origins in the 1870s and 80s all the way up until the 1950s. It was Branch Rickey, who, the brilliant general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, and who originated the idea of the farm system. But even well into the 50s, a lot of minor league teams controlled some or all of their roster, decided when they would hold on to or let a player go, and really were staked in their communities in a way that, unfortunately, minor league baseball can't be today.
That's a very good summation.
Absolutely.
And there you have my cranky old fan rant for today.
Okay.
Yeah, it allowed, for instance, one good example of minor league teams' independence a century ago was Jack Dunn and the Baltimore Orioles of the International League, who held on to Lefty Grove long enough for him to win 109 games in the minors before he got his asking price.
Whoa.
Branch Rickey really expanded farm systems in the 1930s, and the Cardinals locked up so many, dozens and dozens of players in their farm system that even Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis took pity on the players, maybe for the only time, and freed more than 100 of them from the Cardinals and I think the Tigers farm systems,
including Pistol Pete Reeser, who thereby ended up as a Brooklyn Dodger. Although there's an interesting story in that. Gabriel, you want to share kind of the private deal between Branch Rickey and Larry McPhail that Leo DeRocher had the nerve to upset?
Oh, you can go ahead if you'd like.
Okay. Well,
you thought of it.
McPhail was the protege of Rickey. He was running the Brooklyn Dodgers, and feeling that he owed Rickey a favor, agreed to sign Reeser, bury him in the minor leagues, and at some appropriate point, trade him back to the Cardinals. But lo and behold, Leo DeRocher, who was not in on this plan, brings the 19-year-old Reeser to the big club, sees the tremendous potential he has, and starts putting him in spring training games. McPhail orders him to stop playing Reeser, and not for the first or last time in that tumultuous relationship, DeRocher tells McPhail to go to hell. And so, obviously at this point, even though Reeser ended up starting the season at Elmira later that summer, he was up with Brooklyn to stay, and sadly that began one of the most star-crossed careers in Major League history.
Yep. And it was the same tendency a dozen years later that cost them Roberto Clemente, whom they also tried to bury in the minor leagues, and he was so good they benched him. But the Dodgers, the Pirates had a scout who ferreted him out, and away he went to Pittsburgh.
And it helped that Branch Rickey knew him from his Dodger days and looked for him when he became general manager with the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people called it Ricky's Revenge.
Ricky's Revenge for Walter O'Malley, and the world has not yet thought of a revenge for him.
For Walter O'Malley?
For Walter O'Malley. We'd like, as a human being who grew up at that time as a kid, worshiping the Giants, which is like worshiping the Dodgers, because they left together, and for an 11-year-old kid, that was not at all fun. And I hope that someday there becomes something called eminent domain, where a baseball team cannot leave and break kids' hearts like that, where the city should own the baseball team. If the owners want to leave, but don't take the team with you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I just cannot imagine the Brooklyn Dodgers being allowed to move under the current day scenario. At the very least, they would leave the name, the colors, and the records behind, much like what the NFL did with the Cleveland Browns. But it was very different times.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, on a previous program, Scott Russell and I did concoct what I believe would be the perfect revenge on the late Walter O'Malley. We wanted to have him. Yes. Tell me what you think, gentlemen. This may be just a trifle excessive, but I kind of we dig him up from his final resting place.
I knew you were going to start there. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
That's a trifle, all right.
Yeah, fly him back to Brooklyn. In Prospect Park, we erect a new public sculpture, which is an outdoor urinal. And before reburying O'Malley's remains under this, we draw him, quarter him, and shoot each quadrant twice.
Wow.
Wow, you get one of those big cheese graters, but it's like for a human, and you just literally quarter him. You could do it. You could have it assembled. You get Germany to assemble it. They'll have it.
Yeah.
They'll have it. They'll come up with the technique in no time.
This is great. This is great. Continuing with the morbid theme of the day. Keep going, guys.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Whom can we eviscerate next?
The Wilpon?
Richard. Fred Wilpon, the man who seems bent on destroying the Mets. I mean, really, how can Major League Baseball let one man run one of its premier franchises into the ground?
Well, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before to you guys, you people, as it were. Here it is. Pud Selig.
Oh, don't get me started. Now you got me started. Okay, go ahead.
Nominated Wilpon, and I don't know if it ever came through, to be on the executive financial committee of Major League Baseball. And this is after he got raked over the coals by the Ponzi.
That's nothing but skullduggery, Ralph.
Right. I I don't understand how they could think of putting him on the finance committee. And after that, after he makes the All-Star game meaningful, in the sense that it determines the next year's
a deranged idea, if there ever was one.
Right,
Yeah.
and after those things, combined with the rest of the strike things in '95, all of that, they put him in the Hall of Fame. And Gabriel,
You're getting me started. You're getting me started, Ralph.
Me too. The worst commissioner in the history of the game, the worst choice for the Hall of Fame after Walter O'Malley.
You got to put Bowie Kuhn in there too.
Right, we said that at the same time.
Yeah. But my God.
Buzz, the used car sale. Would you buy a used Sport from that man?
I probably wouldn't.
Bud swooped into Seattle, raped the 6 remaining Pilot fans, broke the Space Needle, lost it in Puget Sound, and carted the remnants of the Pilots to Milwaukee. And
yep.
And how
which
that
came
man?
First, the chicken or the egg? Were they just not doing well in Seattle, the Pilots?
Oh,
they were a disaster.
Yeah,
their ownership was a disaster.
But
I would like to note. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I just want to note the irony that Bud Selig's effort to get the team in Milwaukee was to file a massive antitrust suit against Major League Baseball, and that's the leverage he used to get a team. And of course, 30 years later, there he was forcing the strike in order to perpetuate the practices that were fostered under the antitrust exemption. I like ironies like that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and actually, wasn't it also ironic that the Seattle folks were able to use the very same mechanism to get a team back in Seattle only 7 years later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
that's the game they play. That's the game they play.
Yeah.
I want to go back a second.
And we're sitting up here hoping that it gets played again and gets us a franchise in Portland.
True. Are we hopeful that that's going to happen? Do you
guys remember the Portland Rockies?
Yeah, I do. Great
I don't.
club in the 90s. Yep.
Yeah, I did they were the highest drawing A team in the history. They were playing in a AAA field in Portland, and they were the highest drawing short A team in history. They drew like a bunch of people. And I did a video documentary on them in 1995, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Jack Kane was the owner, a great baseball man, wasn't he? Yeah.
Quite a character, and he had a lovely wife who was a dance teacher. I remember that.
Neat.
In any event, I want to get back to one thing we kind of glossed over.
Sure.
You mentioned Pete Reeser, and there are countless fans out there that can sing Willie, Mickey, and the Duke and think of those three as the greatest center fielders of our time at the time they were playing after DiMaggio. They don't think of great center fielders with the idea of bringing Pete Reeser's name into it. He was described by Leo DeRocher as the greatest ball player he had ever seen until he started crashing into walls. And not just one or two, repeatedly he was taken over.
Yeah. The only major league record he set was the most time being read the last rites on the field.
Yeah, I believe he was carried off the field on a stretcher 11 or maybe 12 times.
Yeah.
You know,
Phoenix, running into walls, yeah.
Yeah, you can play the what-if game endlessly, but one that's occurred to me was, you know, in the Cardinal system and even in the minors for the Dodgers, he played shortstop and third base. But when he came up to the Dodgers, Leo felt that his infield was set, so let's take advantage of his tremendous speed and put him in center field. And so would playing third perhaps have prevented all those outfield collisions? And my first thought was, yeah, maybe. But then my second thought was, how many times would he have fallen down the visitor's dugout and broken something?
Right.
Plus, he would have run over Pee Wee Reese about 40 times.
Exactly. Whether he was at third or short.
At least in center field, he could only hurt himself.
Yep.
What a career he destroyed.
Goodness, we got away from morbidity for like 6 minutes there. Way to go.
Well, I know we're probably running short on time, but we'll just throw out names like Tony Conigliaro.
Oh, my goodness.
Score.
Yeah.
You know, Conigliaro, and even after his career, the absolute tragedy, 37 years old, he flies back into Boston. His brother picks him up at the airport. He's going to have an audition at a Boston TV station for a sportscaster job.
Right.
Just after his brother pulls out of the airport, Tony suffers a massive heart attack, brain damage, and is basically a vegetable until he dies 8 years later at the age of 45. I mean, talk about one of the, not only a tragic career, but a tragic life, when at age 22 you would have thought the man had talent, good looks, you know, truly a golden life. But I guess it's just a cautionary tale to us all.
It is, absolutely.
And it is reason again to live every day as if it's your last, not just
that's right.
We three,
I know,
but everybody listening. There's no guarantees that tomorrow will come. So enjoy today and hug your loved ones.
Yeah.
And Gabriel and I will drink a beer for you at Hops. No, actually, it's Ron Tonkin Stadium in Hillsborough on Monday night. How about that, Ralph?
That sounds good to me.
Hillsborough is after I was doing the Northwest League. So can you tell me, is it close to Salem? Is it close to
It
No. It's just west of Beaverton, near southwest of Portland.
Before you get to Forest Grove, it's a nice western suburb, a beautiful little minor league ballpark, and you know, if you're ever up in Oregon, whether you settle here permanently or not, definitely we need to take you to a game there.
That'd be great. I can come up and visit, and you can take me too.
All righty.
All right.
It's the hoppiest place in town.
Is Mr. Beeben, speaking of owners of minor league teams, still running the Eugene team? Beeben.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I remember him. He was a former golfer, and I think he did some umpiring, and he owned the Eugene Emeralds in the 80s and 90s. So I miss those summer days in Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Eugene is in a nice, newer ballpark. A very sad thing is their old park, a WPA project, all wooden park. I'm sure you remember from the 1930s. There was an effort to preserve it, but unfortunately some bored teenagers one summer night started a fire that quickly got out of control and leveled it. The old Civic Stadium is only a memory.
Oh, that
Yeah.
hurts.
So,
That it's
sad,
not there.
but
Yeah.
the memories survive.
They
So,
do
gentlemen,
indeed.
Ralph,
Claire,
who
welcome
signs
back.
this off?
Welcome back to the comfortably zoned airwaves.
Yeah, I am glad to be back.
I'm glad to set it up where you and Gabriel can talk, and I'm glad you'll be thinking about me Monday night.
Indeed, we will.
We'll drink a toast to you, Ralph.
All right. Please close it out, Claire.
So, until I come up with a snappier closing, I'm going to continue to borrow from Gene Autry and say, happy trails, thanks for listening, and happy trails to you all until we meet again.
Thank you for having me on your initial return to the airwaves.
I agree. It was nice being had.
All right. It always is. Thanks, guys and girls. Love you both.
All right. Till next time.
Bye, Claire. All right. Adios.